the course, one should understand. 10 days have been called. 10 days, the material was supplied. On June 12th, the first material which is reached Tirupati was on June 12th. June 12th, by then Chief Minister, who was the Chief Minister by then? June 4th itself, the results came out. June 12th, it was Chandrababu Naidu's regime which was in prevalent. And the first container, the first tanker came on June 12th. June 12th, 21st, 25th, July 4th, whatever the tankers have come, they all passed through the tests. Good for everybody. They passed through all the 3 tests and then they were permitted to go in. Then again on July 6th and July 12th, 4 more tankers came in which did not pass the test conducted, which did not pass these 3 tests, which were 3 tests conducted on every tanker, and they were rejected. They were not permitted to go inside. While this is the reality of the case, that the material was not even consumed, it was sent back because they have failed the test. What did Chandrababu Naidu do? On July 6th and July 12th, the 4 tankers which came in, which did not pass the test and which were sent back because they did not pass the test. This was reiterated by the Tirupati EO, who is an IAS officer posted by Chandrababu Naidu himself in his regime. And what did he say? See, these reports, which were rejected in 3 tests, which were rejected because they did not pass these 3 tests, were sent to NDDB, Gujarat. This NDDB Gujarat lab also came into the picture for the first time. Usually TTD does not, over the decades, never sent their sample all the way to Gujarat. Usually the samples are sent to CFTRI, which is Central Food Technological Research Institute, Mysore. But for some strange reason, first time, NDDB Gujarat was brought into the picture. Fine. On 6th and 12th, when these tankers came and when they were rejected, these samples were once again sent to NDDB. On July 17th, then July 23rd and 17th, they also received, July 23rd, they also received the results. While the tankers were never permitted to go inside, they were rejected. Now, while this is the reality, that the tankers were not permitted to go in, the tankers were rejected, and a show cause notice was issued to the supplier that these tankers have been rejected and sent back, along with a show cause notice. While this is the reality, what happened during the course? On 23rd July itself, the EO of TTD confirmed this information to the media. I'll just play that tape.
ఆస్పెక్ట్ ఏంటంటే టేస్ట్ అనేది మనకు తెలిసిందే, కానీ అరోమా అనేది మనకి కరెక్ట్ గా ఉందా లేదా, క్వాలిటీ లేకపోతే మేము మీద చర్యలు తీసుకుంటామని అందరి మేనేజ్మెంట్ వాళ్ళు వచ్చారు. ఒక్కొక్కరు మాట్లాడి చెప్పిన తర్వాత కొంతమంది ఇంప్రూవ్ చేశారు. ఆ శాంపుల్లో అడల్టరేషన్ ఉందని తెలియదు. ఏం అడల్టరేషన్ ఉందంటే వెజిటబుల్ ఫ్యాట్స్ అంటే మనకి వనస్పతి అంటాం కదా, వెజిటబుల్ ఘీ ఆర్ వనస్పతి ఆర్ వాట్ ఎవర్, అది కలిసిందని తెలిసింది. ఆ సప్లయర్ కి బ్లాక్ లిస్ట్ చేయడానికి షోకాజ్ నోటీస్ ఇవ్వడం జరిగింది. ఈ టెండర్ ట్యాంకర్స్ కూడా 2 ట్యాంకర్స్ ఉన్నాయి, ఆ 2 ట్యాంకర్స్ కూడా రిజెక్ట్ చేయడం జరిగింది.
The EO on July 23rd itself categorically told very clearly that the samples did not pass the 3 tests. The samples were sent to NDDB And these tankers were rejected. So that means the government was aware that the tankers have been rejected and the material was not consumed. In spite of this, on September 18th, that is 2 months later, Chandrababu Naidu makes an intentional statement misleading the facts. Now, what does he say?
దగ్గర పెట్టే ప్రసాదం అపవిత్రం చేసే విధంగా ఓసారి బాధేస్తుంది. నాసి రకమైన ఇంగ్రీడియంట్సే కాకుండా ఎనిమల్ ఫ్యాట్ కూడా వాడారని, ఏది ఘీకు బదులు.
This man, Chandrababu Naidu, knowing very well that the material has been rejected, it did not even enter the premises of the TTD, yet this man carelessly, or rather intentionally, lies, spreads misinformation, says that this material was consumed and it had animal fat in it. Now, what happens after that? After September 18th, September 19th, the so-called confidential report from Gujarat, the NDDB report, the so-called confidential report from NDDB Gujarat is released from Telugu Desam Party office on September 19th. And even in that report, there is a disclaimer which clearly says that this report is not accurate. This report very clearly says that these are the S values, these are the standard values, and these are the deviations. However, these deviations could have taken place because of various factors such as these. That is the disclaimer. And in these disclaimers, they very clearly say that if at all the cow's milk is obtained from an exceptionally high feeding of pure vegetable oils, such as repressed oil, cotton, or palm oil, such deviation in S values could take place. If at all a sample is collected from cows suffering from serious underfeeding, also you will see deviations in S values. Also, you would find deviations if this milk is obtained from bovine milk other than cow's milk. And so on and so forth are the disclaimers which clearly say that these reasons could all be a part for the S value deviations. And Chandrababu Naidu, knowing very well, in spite of this report, in spite of these disclaimers, in spite of the fact, knowing very well that this, irrespective of all these things, because this ghee did not pass through the 3 tests, was not even permitted to enter the TTD premises, and it was not consumed. Knowing very well, yet September 18th he makes a statement intentionally lying. September 19th his Telugu Desam Party office releases this so-called confidential data, so-called confidential report from Telugu Desam Party's office. Then on September 20th, the TTD EO, once again a government official, IAS officer, appointed by Chandrababu Naidu himself as TTD EO, once again addresses the press. And what does he say in that press?
No. The adulterated ghee, 4 tankers have been kept aside, and then they were kept aside so that they can be used when the reports come clear. But the reports unfortunately didn't come clear, then we rejected, we sent away. And then we stopped from that supplier.
So the EO very categorically, once again on 20th, says that these tankers were rejected and sent away, and they were not used. And on 22nd, the TTD EO himself also gives a letter, his report, his findings to the state government. This is the TTD EO signature down beneath. And in that report, what does he say? He says few important things. He says he was selected through e-tender, started supplying from 12th June. However, his 2 tankers on 6th July and 2 more tankers on 15th July were found to be of poor quality during physical verification. Accordingly, all the 4 samples were sent to NDDB lab, Anand, Gujarat, confidentially, I repeat this word confidentially, confidentially for testing its quality. Confidentially. Then he further goes on to say, the adulterated cow ghee tankers supplied by the dairy was returned back and stopped further supplies. And a show cause notice was issued to them. So he once again reiterates his stand, reiterates and says the facts that these 4 tankers were rejected, they were not permitted to go inside, and they were not consumed. And yet, in spite of this, on September 22nd, once again, Chandrababu Naidu goes ahead and once again lies.
ఇక్కడికి వచ్చినప్పుడు 4 ట్యాంకర్స్, అప్పటికే 4 ట్యాంకర్స్ వచ్చేసాయి, దాన్ని వాడారు.
On September 22nd, he once again reiterates his lies and says that this impure ghee was consumed. Now, a chief minister intentionally deviates from facts, knowing very well that these are the facts, deviates from facts, intentionally lies. And how is it fair? Bringing down the reputation of our temple, bringing down the reputation of Lord Venkateshwara Swami, bringing down the reputation of our prasadams, of our Laddu prasadams. Is that permitted? Is that permitted? I ask the so-called BJP party, which actually boasts themselves as representatives of Hindutva, as representatives of Hindu religion. I ask BJP one serious question. If you're sincere, if you're truly representatives of Hinduism, would you support this? A chief minister intentionally lying, bringing down the reputation of Lord Venkateshwara Swami, bringing down the reputation of Venkateshwara Swami's prasadams, intentionally for political gains. If someone, just because they're part of NDA, if they are at liberty to spread these kind of lies, and yet BJP aware of all these facts, knowing very well that these are the facts, how can the BJP support such a person as Chandrababu Naidu without sending him to prison? If at all the Hindutva values they hold are dear and near and are sincere. If one intentionally brings down the reputation of the temple, how is it that the BJP is sitting silent?